time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that weekly Monday night boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. All right, the big homie Drew Evo all the way from the city of Philadelphia will be joining me shortly. He's got to get to some errands real quick, but he said he will be joining us live in the broadcast very shortly. Saludos to all of those joining me from all over the YouTube landia. Shout out to Big Spooky says, Cubo SSB, what's good, Big Spooky? Shout out to everybody that made it to Las Vegas for March Madness. March Madness was here in Las Vegas, and there's been a lot of talk about Las Vegas starting to wind down economically. A lot of people on social media, if you're on platforms like X, Twitter, you know, a lot of people are kind of hating on Las Vegas. Obviously, as a local now, I feel for you. If you're coming to town, shit ain't cheap. And it feels like, you know, you definitely don't get the bang for your buck. It feels like service is way down. It just doesn't feel like the Las Vegas I knew when I first started coming to this town in 2001. So it was really good to see that my local casino, one of my favorite hangout spots, the South Point Casino, was cracking this week. And I went there Friday. If you haven't seen it, please support the short. I'll give you guys a little bit of the short right now, guys. I've got it here ready for you guys. But thousands of people were hanging out Friday very early. Shout out to comedian Gabe Lopez, who runs the Dirty at 12:30. If you don't know what the Dirty at 12:30 is, it is the #1 comedy show in Las Vegas every Friday night. The Dirty at 12:30 starts at 12:30 a.m. and it's completely free. You never know who's going to be there. Gabe Lopez was there all weekend hosting the festivities. And when I mean festivities, guys, there was a lot going on. Yes, I kind of subscribe to the feeling that Las Vegas is starting to slowly die off. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of speculation between experts whether or not a recession is coming. And it certainly feels to me like a recession is coming. But the South Point, because the South Point Casino caters to value-conscious tourists and locals, they pull in the crowds. They pull in huge crowds, guys. Check this out, guys. I want you guys to check out. This is a short I made on Friday. And I don't know why the views are down on it, but I wanted to give you guys a sense of what was going on this weekend, as well as obviously, there's boxing in town Saturday. Sebastian Fundora, making a mandatory defense of his 2 championships at 154. I don't think there was nearly the amount of people at that fight, as you'll see in this quick video. So let's get to that while we wait for Big Drew Evo. Let's check out the festivity. What? Oh, come on now. Hold on, guys. All right, I don't want to get a copyright on that. I can't mute that audio, can I? The sports books, guys, crowded. Horse racing, crowded. This is the comedy lounge, every single table. Then you got the poker room. And this was up in the exhibition hall. By the way, the sports book was packed to capacity. This place had over 2,000 people gambling. Look at the food value. Incredible food value. They had a host, comedy host. There's my boy Gabe Lopez, the Dirty at 12:30. They had a 3-point contest. I mean, this shit was great, man. Look at the line. Look at the line just to shoot the free throws here. Yeah, go support me over there, guys. That short is available on my page. I know I need to do shorts, so check that out. Shout out to Carlos M. Echeverri, I hope. SSB, good to see you. Great to see you, actually. And I love that Carlos is back here, man. Appreciate you guys joining me. Drew will be joining me shortly. I want to talk about a couple of big stories, obviously, that happened over the weekend regarding boxing and combat sports in general. You guys know that the tariffs are coming eventually April 2nd. Those of you invested in the stock market are probably very anxious, just as I am. And I completely ran out of tequila. And if they do impose that tax, I will probably start drinking a lot more whiskey, guys. So since I'm still waiting for Drew, 6 minutes into the show, I'm going to have some whiskey on ice, guys, because I have no idea what kind of taxes or how much more expensive premium tequila is going to cost. But being that I do like whiskey, I'm going to go ahead and drink some whiskey. As you guys see, we got the picture there of George Foreman at 45 years old making an epic comeback. One of my favorite movies to watch, it should still be available on Netflix, is the George Foreman movie, guys. You don't have to be a boxing fan to enjoy a great movie. Shout out to Mom Food. I appreciate you being in here so much. Rest in peace to Big George Foreman. Obviously, he leaves an incredible legacy, a Hall of Famer, doing the unthinkable, guys, doing the unthinkable for anybody that needs motivation and inspiration as somebody in their 40s, coming back to the sport of boxing at the age of 45 and breaking a world record as the oldest champion, heavyweight champion in the world, coming back at 45 years old. A big rest in peace to him. You guys, I follow the famous Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern. I love him. I love to see him. But I don't know, maybe I saw this graphic that he posted up, and it's always fun when you see Beetlejuice's people putting memes and whatnot. But they made a meme, and maybe I won't even show it, guys, because obviously Beetlejuice never fought the great George Foreman. It looks like I may have lost it anyways. So, but cheers to everybody. Rest in peace, George Foreman. All right, we are going to get to some boxing talk. You saw the thumbnail. Sebastian Fundora ordered to fight. But I'm wearing my San Jose hat, guys. I lived in San Jose, California, Silicon Valley for over 20 years. Spent most of my youth, I left the city of San Francisco in my early 20s. But I followed the career of UFC champion Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez, the only Mexican-American heavyweight champ that the UFC has ever produced. And the news came out today, guys, and if you didn't follow the story, Cain Velasquez did something that I think almost any parent would have done. Cain Velasquez, years back, his child was molested at a daycare center that they entrusted the family. The family entrusted this daycare center, and it turned out that one of his children was molested, allegedly by one of the proprietors of the daycare center. And Cain Velasquez, frustrated that the police had not done anything about this molestation issue, well, he took it upon himself in a fit of rage and chased down the the perpetrator, the sick, disgusting pedophile, chased him down and fired a shot from his handgun into the vehicle that was moving. Unfortunately, the person hit was not the pedophile that had molested his child. He did take matters into his own hand. He ended up hitting I believe, if I read this correctly, the stepfather or the father of the pedophile who was also in the vehicle. That person was seriously injured, and Cain Velasquez was charged with attempted murder. Now, he's been waiting for his trial and sentencing to wrap up. It's been 5 years, and today we find out that the judge in the sentencing case in Santa Clara County District Court had tears down his eyes, guys. Cain Velasquez was sentenced today to the bare minimum that the judge would allow because the judge was moved. And rightfully, they asked for 30 years. The district attorneys wanted Cain Velasquez, a father who was merely protecting his child, who was frustrated that the local government would not take accountability for this and make right of the situation. He did the unthinkable and shot and fired that handgun, guys. But I don't know if there's any saving grace to this story. He will not be able to see his children for the sentencing, which is 5 years. There will be some credit for some time served. But again, I don't know how many of you think he did the wrong thing. Cain Velasquez, he acted like a lot of fathers would when a disgusting, sick pedophile targeted his child, someone that you trusted, and sexually abused his child. That's a big story, guys. And again, Cain Velasquez is the only Mexican-American out of San Jose Califas to ever become a UFC champion. Now, I hope I didn't scare you guys off. Thank you guys for hitting that like button, but it is a major story, and I know that a lot of you follow the UFC. And if you didn't know about this Cain Velasquez story, I encourage you guys to go out and read it because it is truly moving what he did. And now he will be spending the next 5 years of his life in California State Prison as a result of his actions. Now, I think I do have a statement by him that I'd like to read. Let's put it here. So much of that I do sometimes, guys. I prepare for this show and it takes a while. And where's Drew? Where's Drew? I know everybody wants to see Drew. Let me quickly see if I've got that statement from him. All right, I found it here. I believe I found it, guys. Cain Velasquez reveals emotions before Monday sentencing. Quote, "From what I can say as far as myself, the way I handled things, that was not the way to do it. We cannot put the law in our own hands. So whatever the court feels correct for what I have to do, I'm going to do it with my head up and still be me and not play the blame game. It was me that did that and reacted in that way." A statement from Cain Velasquez, guys. How do you guys feel about it? If you don't want to talk about it in the chat, if I scared you away, well, leave me a comment. Even leave it anonymously under one of your burner accounts. But I only truly hope, guys, obviously, California State Prison, there's a lot of politics in it. And I hope that he gets the respect that Cain Velasquez, as the only Mexican-American UFC champion, I hope he gets the respect from all the prison gangs that he's protected in there, and that he comes home to his family sooner than the 5 years, guys. All right, those are the stories on my mind, obviously. Again, rest in peace to George Foreman and his incredible legacy. Cain Velasquez, shout out to all those UFC fans. We'll go ahead and talk about some boxing, guys. Let's talk about a little bit about what happened Friday night down under in Australia. I'm talking about George Kambosos. George Ferocious Kambosos, guys. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate you being in here. Thank you very much for that comment. He says, I would do the same thing. I appreciate everybody who, it takes a lot of courage to do what he did, knowing the repercussions. And I applaud him for taking accountability. But yeah, read up on it, guys. You guys can read all the details. So Friday night, George Kambosos, the only guy to beat 140-pound champion once, according to him, Teofimo Lopez, undisputed. George Kambosos fought on Friday night. He's no longer with Top Rank. Top Rank, we'll be talking about a lot about Top Rank as they have a fight this weekend here at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas. But George Ferocious Kambosos now finds himself with Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, and they put on a fight card down under. And the storyline this weekend is that boxing across the world suffered some serious setback in terms of ticket sales. Nobody's at the fucking fights, guys, including Australia. George Ferocious Kambosos apparently had a difficult time even selling more than 4,000 tickets to the event. It featured also a title fight that happens to be rumored. Sky Nicholson is supposedly the girlfriend of promoter Eddie Hearn. I don't know that. She loses her title on the undercard to Tiara Brown. Tiara Brown, who's worked with a good friend of our show, Olympic boxing coach Christine Lopez. You guys could check them out right here on YouTube. But Tiara Brown, a former New York City police officer, and apparently I believe she was a police officer also in Florida. She upsets the girlfriend of the promoter. We'll get to that. But where's my co-host? Where's the co-host? SB, I appreciate that. We're waiting on Drew. Drew starting a small channel. Drew is a gaming enthusiast, which I believe that's where he came up with the name Drew Evo. He's played all kind of games. I think he was highly ranked, one of those highly ranked football gamers. So he's doing the boxing, and I would appreciate it. SB, if you have that link, if you want to drop Drew's link, or when Drew comes in, that's fine too. But Drew is gaming, and the gist of it is that Drew will be taking on, if you have PS5, I believe there's a way that you can play Drew. If you're a fan of our show, if you're a fan of boxing content, and you have a PS5, I think you could play Drew. That's going to be very exciting. Let me just check my phone. So going on to Kambosos, guys, let's go really quickly because George Kambosos moves up in weight. He's had 3 major losses after having one of the biggest upsets in boxing recent history, beating Teofimo Lopez and taking all 3 titles. I think at one point they argued he was undisputed for, but he only held that distinction for 1 fight. And then he lost like 3 in a row, and George Kambosos' stock is completely tanked. But now under promoter with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. It looks like he just earned himself a title opportunity, as it's rumored that they are going to quickly try to make work of the IBF title belt that is in the possession of Matchroom Boxing's Richardson Hitchens. Richardson Hitchens recently won that title. He's defended it already once. Looks like George Kambosos, after losing, like I said, losing 3, after doing the unthinkable and beating Teofimo Lopez, looks like he's going to earn himself an opportunity for a title. Does that sit well with any of you? Shout out Warlock Boxing. What's good? I don't know if you saw my exchange with you on X, homie, but a good friend of my show, Chauncey Pearls, which I try to tag him. He doesn't check, but he's just launched his own boxing. Well, he has a clothing line, and he's going to be having some really nice pieces of clothing being sold on his website. I'll try to get all the details of that, but my boy Chauncey is launched. He's got a clothing line, and he has some really nice boxing merchandise coming out that I hope to get some of my. Chauncey, if you're listening to the replay, where's my hoodie? I'm waiting. I can't wait to get one of those hoodies. Make sure you guys check out Warlock Boxing. I made you a mod. Share your channel here if you do wish. All right, moving on to this Kambosos. It's not sitting well with me, guys, that Drew isn't here yet. It's not sitting well with me that George Kambosos not even really being ranked and fighting a guy. And shout out to the guy, his opponent. His name is Wiley, like one of our good people in the chat here, Wiley Coyote. He beats a guy, Wiley looked, I have to admit, Kambosos looked pretty explosive, and his hand speed looked really good at the weight class. I was impressed. I was actually, first 3-4 rounds, I'm like, okay, this guy, Wiley, is outclassed. He's coming in with like a week or 2 notice, last minute replacement fighter. He's getting outworked by the world-class Kambosos, if you do say. And then things changed. There was a major headbutt, and Wiley came alive and gave Kambosos a hell of a fight. He gave him a hell of a fight in the later rounds, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The late rounds of this fight, Kambosos actually getting some decent work at the last minute by a last minute replacement. Question is, does it merit an opportunity, a world title opportunity? And it certainly looks like he's going to get that. So here is a quick look at that. But this is Richardson Hitchens, one of the 4 champions at 140 pounds, who's also signed to Matchroom Boxing. And it looks like Kambosos will be coming back. He just had this fight in Australia. It looks like if this comes to fruition, Kambosos is going to get a second shot at being a world champion. A lot of people wrote off Kambosos. A lot of us wonder, is Kambosos, was he a one-hit wonder? When you look at combat athletes, and you have athletes that do the unthinkable, like when Mike Tyson was beaten for the first time in his career, and then that person goes on to become a champion and not have anywhere near the success that Mike Tyson had, a fluke. Was it a fluke? Or was George Kambosos is he truly capable of that type of performance, fight after fight after fight? Well, because he lost 3 in a row and has looked like ass in some of those fights, you have to really think that, was this a fluke? Was Teofimo Lopez injured in that fight? Remember, he said that he had sustained some type of lung injury, and then medically they had reports that he did go to the hospital and he had an issue with himself. Was that the reason why Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez? What I want to see out of this is if Teofimo Lopez, being one of the champions at 140 pounds, who's going to be fighting on Cinco de Mayo weekend, it's going to be a great weekend, Cinco de Mayo, for you boxing fans. If Kambosos beats Hitchens, 100% everybody in boxing should be wanting to see a rematch, and Teofimo Lopez should want and desire that rematch immediately. Even if Kambosos loses and puts on a performance worthy, maybe he wins 4-5 solid rounds against Hitchens, you still have a good argument for Teofimo Lopez to say, let's run it back. Let me get that revenge, homie. Let me get that one off my record that I beat you in the rematch. I've met Teofimo, and Teofimo is a colorful character. A lot of the things he's saying lately have come across as straight racist, immature. I don't approve of some of the things the guy says, but in person, he's actually quite charming. He knows how to work the room. And I believe that he's probably smarter than he comes across. He makes for a great interview. Again, I don't support any of the wild shit he says that comes across as racist, because this sport of boxing, it thrives on competition, but it has to remain respectfully at all times. And when you have the very best African-American athletes fighting the very best Latino athletes, you know it's going to be explosive fireworks. There's no need to make it racist. No need for that at all. But I, for one, listen, Kambosos looked pretty interesting at 140 pounds. He looks like rejuvenated. Personally, he looks rejuvenated, and I welcome that fight. If he's going to get that fight with Hitchens in-house with Matchroom Boxing, what I'm really looking forward to is what comes down the line. What's going to happen after that, right? So anyways, guys, Kambosos, this was the card here. If you didn't see it, it was on DAZN. You can watch the highlights of this. Sky Nicholson, in a shocking upset, loses her title, featherweight title, to Tiara Brown, US's Tiara Brown. Nini Sugar, I think her name is Johnson. She's also a champion. She beat Hughes too in the rematch. And this weekend in Las Vegas, we're going to have an epic women's championship rematch. Yeah, we're going to have, if you guys watched my intro, Michaela Mayer is defending her title at the Fontainebleau. And something that was very interesting on my ex Twitter timeline was when I noticed on Friday, you guys know, if you guys have been watching the show for any length of time, you guys know that my interview is not on page, but I met Xander Zayas in his first professional fight, and I interviewed him, and it got me a ton of exposure early on my boxing podcast, which was on a different platform at the time. Meeting Xander, I think he was only 17 years old. He made his debut in Reno, California. And I've been following his career, and other channels that are good friends of mine on YouTube have interviewed him along the way of his career, man. And Xander tweeted out, I believe on Thursday or maybe Friday morning, that he had to go represent and hang out with his girl, Michaela Mayer. And I said, damn, Xander doesn't come to Las Vegas for no reason. And the only reason I can think that Xander Zayas is in Las Vegas is because, well, Sebastian Fundora is fighting, and Xander Zayas is ranked at the very top of the heap for the WBO. And I thought, damn, is Sebastian Fundora coming to Las Vegas, to the Mandalay Bay, to talk shit, to get up in the face of Sebastian, the towering Inferno Miguelito? Shout out to Miguelito, a fellow whiskey drinker. I'm having some Kentucky whiskey, Kings Creek. This was recommended to me on the cheap. That's right. You know, these tariffs are so high that I can't even afford Jack Daniels right now, Miguelito. I can't even afford a good bottle of whiskey. This isn't bad, by the way. And again, where's my co-host? He said he'd be late, but it's 8:13. Let me just check my text messages. Miguelito, you want to come on the show? Say hi to Rhonda, Miguelito. All right, guys. Xander Zayas in Las Vegas on Friday, guys. Shout out to Wiley Coyote. I don't know if you heard the part about... Speaking of Wiley, I believe my boy Wiley's a great person here in the chat. I believe you're Canadian, right? And I'm going to go off topic, but this is burning. I'm a little bit pissed off about this one, guys. But Joe Rogan, I love his podcast. I do. I mean, I wish I could be Joe Rogan, right? Comedian, podcaster. He won't be at UFC 315. Quote, I don't go to Canada anymore. I'd rather go to Russia. This is fucking pissing me off. This is some MMA news that today, it's a little bit much. I know he's been friendly with Elon Musk recently. Elon Musk was on his podcast, you know, showing off the custom Tesla he has. But come on, bro. Come on. All right, guys. He's joining us right now. What's good, Drew?
Chilling.
Good, man. Hey, we dropped the link. I'm not sure if we dropped the link, but go ahead and drop the link to your channel in the chat. You know, copy link and post that up. And It's exciting, man. I see that you got the PS5 up and running on your gaming channel. And you were telling me, what's your record right now?
12-1-1.
12-1-1. What I want to know, Drew, is, okay, what weight class are you fighting at in this PS5 game? Undisputed.
Lightweight.
Are you lightweight division? Can people play other people across the world? Can someone theoretically say, Drew, I got the game, I want to play you?
Yeah.
All right. How do they go about doing that? Are you going to post that on your channel on how they can play you, your username or anything like that?
Right now, I'm only doing career mode right now.
So right now you're going to play career mode, and you will be open eventually to challenging anybody here that wants to, if they got the game, play you.
Yeah.
Interesting. There is a Las Vegas content creator that I know of that has PS5, Drew, and he currently is playing baseball on it. All right, he's playing baseball. He's playing hockey and golf. I've seen that. But I don't know if he wants to take on the great Drew Evo on Undisputed, man. That would be something. That would be something. If you're out there and your people are watching, get the game and let's handle some business. All right, Drew, I was talking about, we're right now in the middle of the Sebastian Fundora, and I was just talking about Xander Zayas rolled through. This is big news, but just wanted to know, did you see Kambosos at 140 pounds, the highlights of that fight?
Yeah, I'm be honest. He's washed. This is against a way lesser opponent. He's washed. He ain't gonna beat nothing at 140. He's a gatekeeper at best.
With a big name. Well, and what do you make of the news that Eddie Hearn wants to make an immediate matchup between Richardson Hitchens, who has the 140-pound IBF title, that he's going to put Kambosos against him? Kambosos is going to potentially get an opportunity to fight for that belt this summer.
Well, here's the issue: how in the hell is he ranked high in the IBF when he's 1-3 and is 1-4 in his last 5 fights, including a stoppage by Lomachenko?
I agree. I agree. He personally doesn't deserve a shot at the title. I hate to see people get into title fights coming off of coming off losses. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But again, Eddie Hearn's going to do what he's going to do. He thinks Kambosos is a marketable name who did beat Teofimo. If Kambosos does the unthinkable, beats Richardson Hitchens, the younger, fresher fighter, Drew, how bad do you want to see him fight Teofimo? I personally want to see him fight Teofimo again.
I think Teofimo should be entertaining this a long time ago, but he doesn't want to, and it's just like he didn't want to entertain a Loma rematch, and he's not sure. I don't think Teofimo is sure he could beat Kambosos for some reason. I don't know. He just got that urge that he doesn't want to fight Kambosos again, and this is the perfect time to fight him. And they raced the O, the guy that took your O and everything. But I think Teofimo, he's all over the place.
I heard that, man. By the way, Sky Nicholson also, I just talked about it, bitch. She got upset. The girlfriend of Eddie Hearn got upset as yoked as she was. The police officer, Tiara Brown, took her featherweight title. We're going to have a rematch. Yeah, what'd you think about that?
I tell you the truth, Scott Nicholson's competition was crushing the bottom of me the whole time. She finally faced someone, and she lost the fight, clearly. I had it 7-3. So they thought that they would get a robbery decision or a gift decision, I guess. And they almost did because it was a split decision. I think, wasn't it like a split decision?
Yeah, split decision. The judges weren't all in agreement. That's correct.
Yeah, so I don't think she beats this girl whatsoever. I think that she's going to lose again if there's a rematch, and we're going to call it a day. I think she was bound to lose.
There's got to be, with Sky Nicholson's Olympic pedigree, with her large Australian audience, I'm personally happy that this weekend we're gonna get the Michaela Mayer Sandy Ryan fight. I love the first one. I've been watching Michaela's career closely, but it's a tough sell, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. Women's boxing in Las Vegas, all boxing right now, Drew. When I show you the pictures of how empty the Mandalay Bay this weekend was, it was fucking shocking. Considering the fact that thousands of sports fans were in Las Vegas this weekend for March Madness, obviously these people are big sports bettors. I was shocked at how bad the attendance was for this fight on Saturday night. And now we have 2 weekends in a row in Las Vegas where we're going to have Top Rank putting on shows back to back. Top Rank is good at selling 3,000 to 4,000 seat venues. So I certainly hope that the smaller venue is going to make the rematch this weekend look better. But right now, that wasn't a good look for boxing in Las Vegas, Drew. I don't know personally if this is a sign of the times that people are going to be becoming more conscious of what they're spending their money on. People spend a lot of money to go to sporting events, but boxing is a niche sport right now. You know, and if I start seeing empty arenas like that and my friends that go to these things tell me, fuck, dude, there was nobody there. That's not a good look. Not a good look.
Nah, it's not a good look for women's boxing. And tell you the truth, the only thing you should be happy about, they're over real quick because of the 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, 20 minutes, 10 minutes times 2. I don't know the details of this fight for Michaela Mayer, if it's going to be 2-minute rounds, 10 rounds. I do sometimes think on close fights, like I wish there was an option for them to go the full 12, but I don't like 3-minute rounds. The one time recent memory, I felt like it just goes on too long. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not being fair, but
I'll tell you the truth. You're not going to see many knockouts in women's boxing, and you're not going to really see exciting fights really in women's boxing.
Well,
when you see it they'll normally turn the robberies. So.
Yeah, well, one person that is getting the women's knockouts is Sebastian Fundora's sister, Gabriela Fundora, and I want to get to this story. Let's get to the storyline of what happened Saturday. You know, if you guys didn't know, Fundora defended his title after 1 year of inactivity. He was waiting around for Errol Spence to make up his fucking mind. The WBO and whatever belts he holds said, okay, he can make a voluntary defense against anybody who's in the top 10 ranking, 15. I've never even heard of Cordell Booker. You've never been in a big fight. Went to research him. He's got a great story. He started boxing at 18 as just a guy coming off the street, taking classes. 18 to get as far as he has in his. This is a personal achievement that he will remember for the entirety of his life, that he fought for a world title. Does not qualify him to be in the ring with Sebastian Fundora, Drew. And I knew that something was funny because Friday I started seeing mentioned that the WBO was going to order that the winner of this fight Saturday fight Xander Zayas of Top Rank. That's fucking crazy to me because if I'm correct, isn't Virgil Ortiz the interim WBO champ? Isn't Virgil Ortiz the bigger name? Isn't Virgil Ortiz the guy who's fought the more deadlier fighters in Bochacek? Fantastic fight that I was at and beating recently.
Here's the issue. I believe it's Sampson and everything. He doesn't want to make fights go to the zone because we're going to look at it. He will likely, and if it goes to post bid, the zone Golden Boy is going to buy it, or Turkey Al Sheikh's is going to give Oscar the money, say win the post bid.
Okay.
And then Sampson's going to be like, oh, he's going to vacate, and that's another issue. Like Sampson. I don't give a fuck your loyalties to PBC. You want to make the fights, but you're going to have to realize it's not all going to be your own. It's not all going to be your way all the time. You got to realize, and it's the thing with David Benavidez. Oh, he's going to fight for the WBC title. Yeah, but here's the thing. You're not the A side. Bevo is. You're trying to say, oh, we offer him $10 million. With what money? What money do you have to offer him $10 million? Your business partner is his PBC probably is almost broke. They're struggling. So how are you going to guarantee somebody $10 million that the fight David Benavidez? And the thing is, you're going to have it on pay-per-view. That's not going to do good numbers. At $89, $84, no, that's not going to do good numbers. It's like this. Samson needs to realize his loyalties are to his fighters, not to Al Heyman, because you are barely in business still. And nobody, and people realize, oh, we don't need Turkey Al Sheikh's money and everything. It's not about that. You want to show you're the best and everything, but every time, but I don't, and I understand, hey, sue him off. Oh, someone wants to make you the mandatory, but why about the mandatory for Canelo in 168 and everything, all that time? And that's what I don't get. And now you want to make him a mandatory. Oh, he's going to fight for a vacated belt. Oh, he's going to fight Caleb Smith. Here's the thing. You have to agree to a contract. And if it doesn't, what happens, Dave, if both parties can't agree to a contract?
Then it goes to what's called the purse bid, which is basically a bidding system where a promoter can bet, and the promoter with the highest bid gets to put the event on. I'm glad you brought that up, Drew, because I'm reading it here that the WBO confirmed the expected news that they're going to give him 20 days to negotiate, 20 days from Saturday, or it will go to a purse bid. Here's a picture, by the way, Drew, from a friend that sent me this about how this ticket sales went. This is how empty it was. Now, I don't know the time of this, but I'm hearing that there was less than 5,000 people at the event. Shout out to Ryan. Appreciate you, buddy. Good to see you in here. My friend went to the fight, and this is one of the pictures he shared with me, how bad the ticket sales were for Sebastian Fundora. Now, Drew, speaking of purse bid, and Ryan, if you have any insight on this, Top Rank is going to lose their TV rights deal with ESPN come June, right? Is it June or July?
July.
So, young Xander Zayas showed up like this is what I appreciate about him. He knows it's time to step up. He shows up. He comes out of it all the way from Florida to make this appearance on a rival network, on a rival promotion. That took a lot of fucking balls. That he did exactly what I expect a fighter who wants a title opportunity is to be there. Yes, they're all smiles. He went there to sell the fight, to be himself, to sell himself. He said something along the lines of, I'll see you in June, which is Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York. So what does he know that we don't know? First of all, Xander, love the kid. You're not the champ. You're not fucking dictating the time or the place unless your promoter wins that purse bid. Unless PBC says, we're not going to pay for the fight, fuck this fight, and then Top Rank wins the deal. Then maybe it might be. But again, they're losing their television rights deal. And I think, honestly, Drew, I think the Sebastian Fundora can let the date expire, ask for an extension, which he'll be granted, which will push Top Rank out of, basically, we don't know where Top Rank is going to land. And then where will this fight take place?
But here's the thing. You forgot to mention, Top Rank's probably negotiating with another platform.
You think they're going to DAZN?
They have no choice but to go to DAZN. So here's the thing right now, Dave. They're going to win the post bid. No, I'm going to do you one better. You want to know who's going to win the post bid? And who's going to tell him he's going to put the money up? Turkey Al Sheikh is going to put the money up. He's going to tell Top Rank, you guys are going to win the post bid. But it's going to be a Riyadh season. card in New York. That's going to be in New York.
That's a big, bold prediction, Drew. I noticed something, and shout out to Joe Habib, a ringside reporter who had a great interview with Samson. I still haven't gotten through the entire interview, but if you follow Ringside Reporter on YouTube, make sure you watch that interview with the manager of David Benavidez, also the manager of Sebastian Fundora, Samson. Drew, Samson walked into the ring the minute that Sebastian won this fight on Saturday. He walked in with a T-shirt that was made by the WBC that said Familia, and he kept plastering the shirt on top of Sebastian Fundora that said WBC Familia, which to me is basically saying we're loyal to the WBC above everything. We are loyal to Suleiman, Mexico Suleiman. And it also kind of signaled to me that, hey, this is a dig at Turki Ali Sheikh. This is a dig to Turkey that we're not going to fuck with you. We're not working with you. We roll with the WBC. Suleiman is at odds with Turkey right now. It also kind of implied to me that maybe they are willing to give up the WBO belt. So I'm going to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think it is that Sebastian and his management team ultimately says, you know, Xander, we like you. You're a good kid, but to be honest, this fight doesn't make sense. And so we're just going to drop this belt. Whoever the fuck wants to fight, whoever the WBO says is eligible to fight for it, whether it's actually, it wouldn't be a bad thing, but how likely is that to happen on a scale of 1 to 10 where they just drop the belt?
8. And I'll be honest with you, for all that, if you drop the belt, I don't think Sebastian should be able to fight for that belt again. If you refusing to fight somebody, if you're refusing to fight a mandatory because you know you're not going to win a post bid, you do not deserve to fight for that title ever again in that division. So let alone, I don't want to even let you fight for one of my belts again.
So what happens? What would happen if Murtazaliev, who's already expressed congratulations and said he can't wait to fight Fundora, what happened if they can make the Murtazaliev fight and they petition the WBO for a step-aside fee and say, hey, man, we got a unification. This is going to be, we got an incredible unification here. Murtazaliev has some titles, and we would prefer to fight Murtazaliev for his belts. You think anybody goes for that? I would prefer to see unification any day.
Yeah, it's probably, the thing is, then it will be like this. I think you have a final eliminator between Xander and Virgil.
I'm seeing it right there, which is at the top of at this picture right here, man.
And then whoever wins out of those two fights will be fighting each other.
We'll be fighting the winner of Fundora versus Murtazaliev?
Yeah, and I look at it like this. If Fundora somewhat wins, which I don't think he wins, I don't think he beats him. I think he's gonna get one good shot to his chin. He's gonna go down, and I think he's a chin shot from that happening. Whoever he fights next, I think he beats Xander, but I look at it like this. The only way I can see this being happening, you let them do unification. You have a final eliminator between Xander and Virgil. And I think the winner out of those two fights fight each other. But Fundora really needs to realize if Virgil beats Xander and he wins his fight, Fundora, he's not the A side and everything. And it will go to us post bid. And Fundora, they're going to wind up fighting on their own. And Samson, it's going to look like this. You're ducking some. You're gonna tell Fundora to give up that belt, and you think he's gonna be credited? He's gonna be credited for being is ducking a fight and everything. This is what I don't get. Samson needs to realize you're not helping your fighters make the most money. You are preventing your fighters from making money. And I'm being dead ass. I think Samson is preventing his fighters from making the most money in the sport. And this is a sport you don't have really most of the time don't have a lot of time in.
There's a lot of people that feel the same way about what you're saying, Drew.
Like I really think that like I even treated Samson. I was like, well, about the Benavidez thing. I was like, so what happens if it goes to post bid and you guys lose a post bid and the fight's on his own? You gonna tell David not to fight Bivol? I mean, you gonna let him, and he's gonna be credited for ducking Demetrius Bivol? You could, like, you're not. You gotta apply by the rules of the WBC. And Surumov is crooked. He's corrupted. He's crooked. I don't give a flying fuck about him and everything. So like, he caters to certain people, and that's how I see it. And we ever was an interview, I'll say the same shit to him. I think you cater for certain fighters. I don't give a fuck. That's one thing. I'm not no fucking kiss ass like most of these other fucking dudes on YouTube.
Oh, we know that.
Everything.
We know that.
So,
shout out to V joining us in the chat. She says, smash that like. I like that.
I fucking would say it. That I think you cater to the most fighters, and I think that if we're going to be fair here, this fight's going to a post bid. Like Demetrius Bivol is the A side of this fight, of Benavidez fight, and that's going to a post bid, and they're gonna lose in either way. PBC, Samson and PBC are gonna lose post bids either way. It doesn't matter because they'll have the advantage. They hold the cards and everything, and it will make them look fucking bad. It will make Samson look bad as in what kind of businessman are you? What kind of fucking promoter or manager are you? You're fucking killing these guys' careers. Like Benavidez is like his dad's being stupid, using people's names for clout and everything. And what's that got you? Your biggest purse is $2.5 million probably, if lucky. You went on pay-per-view and all those pay-per-views bombed. And what's that to show for it? You're not really making the sense. And Samson's not really doing anything to help his fighters make money. He's actually holding them back, and these guys are stupid enough to believe him. And like, I look at it like this. I think the only one that was smart to have somebody else help her with her career is Gabriela Fundora, and because she is signed the Golden Boy.
All right, I'm going to talk about Gabriela Fundora, who I got to see. Fonzie and I got to see her at Cosmopolitan become undisputed, the youngest female champion to ever become undisputed, because she does have relevancy to this story up, which is the picture you see here with Virgil Ortiz. I'm sorry, excuse me, Xander Zayas, young Xander Zayas, and Sebastian Fundora this weekend. V, I do want to talk to you. I want to talk about that subject. You said, what's this about Haney's dad? I hear about it. I think you're talking about, let me know in the chat if you're talking about what the statement Haney made last week. Bill Haney saying Mexican fighters only have to fight well, but black fighters have to go above and beyond.
He's racist. I don't give a fuck what anybody
Gabriela Fundora. Gabriela Fundora interjected, Drew, in the hallways of the Mandalay Bay backstage. Xander Zayas says, hey, thanks a lot for bringing me on stage. Let's do a face-off. Let's get some pictures for the media. Let's do a face-off. Which apparently she interjected as the sister and said there's no fucking need for a face-off picture. No. Separating everybody. That also kind of tells me, I've been thinking about this. I know she's all up in her brother's career's business, man. I know she cares about her. She must care about her brother a lot. They have a very strong dynamic. I got to meet both of them on the same day last year. Why would she not want them to take pictures for the media for a face-off unless she has an idea of who her brother should be fighting? To me, that tells me the sister's saying, I don't think you should fight this dude next. I think we should go a different direction for you, brother. Because if she wanted him to fight Xander Zayas, she'd been like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's get this going, guys. Let's get pictures. Let's go, media. But no, she said there's no need for that. She's separated this. Drew, I don't want to leave. And speaking of V, because I believe V is from Arizona, I do not want to leave this very important person out of the equation. And that's young Jesus Ramos Jr., who put a whooping on a very tough, durable Argentinian fighter in the co-main event, stopping Guido Scrum of Argentina. I'm looking at boxingscene.com, and I'm looking, they did a fantastic article about all of their writers were asked, who do you most want to see fight at 154? Jason Lagendorf and our good friend, Big Dog Lucas Cattell, both argued that they want to see Jesus Ramos Jr., who in my opinion is undefeated, who got robbed. And there was another fucking robbery this weekend in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact. I don't know if we'll talk about that one. They both said they want to see Jesus Ramos Jr. fight Xander Zayas, two of the people that write at Boxing Scene. Now, both of these guys are the top of the cream of the crop. They're only separated by a year apart. They're both, Xander's not a southpaw that I believe, but I know that Jesus is. But Jesus is technically should be undefeated. And he's not even being, he's been telling everybody, hey, I fight on PBC. What about my fucking shot? What about my shot? But because of that, robbery that took place on the Canelo undercard where he lost to Erickson Lubin, he's being avoided. Everybody's avoiding him. But if you look at the writers for Boxing Scene, all of them boxing writers of America, they all want to see Jesus Ramos get a shot at Xander Zayas. And they feel that they should make that fight first. Like that Xander Zayas hasn't fought anybody that is a top contender. And I will say this, Jesus has already Jesus beat the guy that knocked out Sebastian Fundora. He beat that guy. He already solidly beat him. Brian Mendoza, he beat him. Who has Xander Zayas beat? He did beat one former champion, but so did Jesus Ramos Jr. Jesus just beat Jason Banana Rosario. They both have beat former world champions at 154. They both technically, to me, are undefeated. And I do not want people to forget about Arizona's Jesus Ramos Jr., who has a solid fan base developing right here in Las Vegas. People are showing up to see him fight, and he really should be undefeated. I don't know how he gets his opportunity, but if I'm PBC, I'm making the fight. They got to listen to the sanctioning bodies, but I would prefer to have an in-house fight. I would prefer to have him. They should have had him defend the title against Jesus Ramos Jr. this past Saturday. Maybe they would have sold more seats.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to look at it like this, Dave, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Samson don't want that fight because he knows Ramos will knock out Sebastian Fundora.
They said, hey, Samson said, they said we could fight anyone from ranked top 15. The WBO said he had elect. What do you call that shit when you get to choose your opponent?
A voluntary.
And
I'm going to say this right now. If that fight was to get made, I'm picking Jesus Ramos by knockout. And and I don't think they want that fight because Samson thinks he can beat Fundora. But I am going to say this right now. Let's put this fact right now. The fight that should get made, if the mandatory should not be Xander Zayas, the mandatory should be Virgil Ortiz. And I think the WBO needs to stop. Why is there an interim champion if you're not giving the interim champion the shot at the real title?
I like that, Drew. I personally, guys, let me know. SB, I appreciate you so much. Oh, SB, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much to SB for dropping that $20 bomb. In this economy, I know I much appreciate that. You don't know. Shout out to SB for such a lovely contribution. Says for that tequila fund. And in fact, you know what? I'm gonna try to make a short this week because I do need to go get some tequila, and I gotta rush to that Total Wine and More before the prices go up. Oh man, I definitely do. So look out for that short. I'm going to try to post a short on that. Thank you, says Mom Food as well. 154 pound is a tough division right now. It's the most, Warlock Boxing says, it's the most fucking talented division because there's so many good matchups, including, we can't forget about Tim Tszyu, who's going to be fighting in 2 weeks, another PBC fighter. He's fighting Joey Spencer. He's got to rebuild his career. He's got to fight the guys that Jesus Ramos Jr. already fucking knocked out. Like, that's how far back Tim Tszyu's got to rebuild his career, that he's fighting Joey Spencer of PBC, right? That, but we can't forget about him. He may come back to glory. Tim Tszyu. Can't forget about Keith One-Time Thurman. I mean, maybe he's going to be a player. Maybe he is a player. There's so many guys in that division that you can make incredible fights, Drew. I would love to see Jesus Ramos Jr. If Murtaz Eliav is out of the equation, I would love to see somehow Jesus Ramos Jr. get that opportunity for the IBF title against Murtaz Eliav. And preferably, I love Xander Zayas. Great young kid. I agree with you that Virgil Ortiz is the stronger opponent and the more well-deserved opponent. And I think that's the fight the WBO should have been ordering. I was a bit surprised that they were ordering Xander Zayas so early. We're going to see how that works out, guys. SB, thank you so much. They dropped the link to Drew Evil's gaming channel.
Thanks.
Drew Evil, you guys can watch him there. He's playing that video game amongst other games, and we're trying to get his content up there and get him some support over there.
Here's the thing. I also stream on Twitch, and I've been getting calls from my old Madden buddies about coming out of retirement.
I think you should. Like I said, I know of another Vegas streamer that plays video games. I've been hearing about it. And it might be nice if you beat the crap out of them on your channel. That would be great if you play them Madden.
I got told by a couple people I need to come out of retirement and play Madden again.
Mm-hmm.
And play on Twitch because that was when my channel on Twitch was at its highest peak while I was playing Madden and everything. But I look at it like this. I told someone if I ever was to come out of retirement, someone has to buy the game for me. Because that's the only way I would come out of retirement for Madden. Now, someone asked me about NCAA football. I don't know. I look at it like this. I've been retired from Madden for 3 years now. I enjoyed the retirement, because, and then people are saying, Drew, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Like, you can do so much and everything in Madden. So, I'm kind of in talks with people about possibly maybe coming back. I'm at 40% chance. So, I don't know.
I would like to see it myself. I would love to see it myself. All right. By the way, on Saturday's card, the card started on Amazon Prime at 5 o'clock, and I was watching the clock because I stayed home to watch the fight. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. But I was telling my wife, I'm like, I think this event is going to be over around 7. I felt like there was going to be a knockout. Fundora was going to be a knockout. And at the time of the stoppage, it was exactly 7:01 p.m. And you guys heard me last week rail against how expensive it is to go to sporting events, how expensive it is to be a boxing fan, Drew. Whatever price you paid to see those seats, if you showed up for the main event, it was 2 hours and 1 minute from the start of the PBC card on Amazon Prime. 2 hours and 1 minute, Drew. That's fucking nuts. It moved very quick. That very first fight, guys, Elijah Garcia, a middleweight prospect trying to move into contender status, coming off of a loss, fought former U.S. Olympian Geisha. There is no fucking way that Elijah Garcia, and he's a wonderful kid, wonderful Christian kid. I met his family at the MGM, won that fight. And,
he didn't win that fight.
And he's trained by Bob Santos, San Jose legendary Bob Santos. Shout out to Bob Santos and his son. They didn't win that fight. And in fact, Abner Mares of Showtime, remember Abner Mares is no longer with Showtime, it doesn't exist, but he was commenting. He was fucking livid. He literally said, if you heard the broadcast, he said, this is the fucking reason. I don't know if he used the F word. I did. This is the reason nobody fucking watches boxing anymore. That's how pissed off he was. And he's like, I'm friends with Elijah's family. I'm friends with Elijah. He did not win this fight. That was PBC's own commentating team saying this is the reason why. And I'm going to show you guys just really quickly the CompuBox number. Elijah Garcia, 10 rounds, wins a decision against Terrell Geisha, former Olympian. Dog, look at these numbers. Just look at these numbers. 154 punches landed for Garcia versus 189, 23 jabs versus 54. In the power punch department, 131 to 135. But even in I mean, Garcia had a strong round 10, but that was about it, guys.
I had 7-3.
Ryan says Abner was correct and Morrow had to reel him in. Yeah, he's like, you forget who's paying our paycheck? You might want to reel it. Yeah, reel it in. I love Elijah Garcia, but this to me is troubling, Drew, because they really thought he was going to be a potential. Remember, PBC got rid of what's that kid, Melnecki? PBC, They got rid of Melnecki. Melnecki had he lost to a Philly fighter. He looked a little bit piss poor. And to be honest, Elijah Garcia, who was coming off a loss, really should have been coming off, now has 2 losses. And at top rank, at top rank, you're fucking gone. These days at top rank, you lose 2 fights and you're gone. You're off the roster. So I don't know where he goes. He better make some improvement in the next fight, visible improvement, or he may be ending up on the pro box circuit eventually, or looking for another home with a different promoter. Also, speaking of San Jose, on the undercard, not on the televised, I believe it was probably on YouTube or the PBC, but Robert the Ghost Guerrero's son, now training full-time in Las Vegas, had a very impressive victory. And he's also trained by Bob Santos. So shout out to Robert the Ghost Guerrero, who was in town. Done talking about that, Drew. Done talking about that. Bay Area fighters. We had Stockton's Vladimir Hernandez, Stockton. We had Joshawn James, Sacramento. Did you see this pro box fight? Because Lester Martinez, I've been raving about him, Drew. Been raving about this Guatemalan fighter. There's never been a Guatemalan world champ. Joshawn James looks like he was going to be a solid contender at middleweight. Now fighting at super middleweight. Why does it matter, guys, if you didn't see the knockout of Joshawn James getting knocked down and knocked the fuck out into oblivion twice? Lester Martinez is trained by Bomac. As far as I know, he's the only Latino on Bomac's team. And it is now official. This is a big deal. Lester Martinez destroyed Joshawn James. Destroyed him. He's got some very, very credible wins. Now he's from Pro Box. I think he's literally going to hit the big stage anytime soon. But Lester Martinez, Drew, is now going to be the primary sparring partner for Terrence Bud Crawford in the lead up to the fight against Canelo Alvarez, September. This dude can fight. Lester Martinez can fight. And whatever he learns from these sparring sessions from Terrence Bud Crawford, this dude could legitimately be a world champion at super middleweight eventually. And the experience he's going to get being Terrence Bud Crawford's primary it's going to launch him to the next level. And for Terrence Bud Crawford, he's going to be sparring with a guy that hits hard as fuck, can box, has really solid ring IQ. I don't think there's a better guy for Terrence Crawford to prepare with, and it's going to be a guy that's already part of his team. Awesome. V, hit me, put it in the comment section or put it in the chat. I do need better help titling this show. I do, absolutely. Okay, she says do open panel live streams. I can drop this link at any time, but if it's not in the title description, you may be right. That could be hurting it. But Drew and I used to pay a lot of money for a phone line, and people stopped calling the phone line. I mean, we fucking used to have a solid 30 people watching our show. We started doing vertical. Our numbers went up. Now they're way down. We don't even pay for the phone line. But I'm open to anybody. If anybody has something to say on any of these topics, even right now, I'll drop the link right now and you guys can come on. Yeah, Bomac has a very strong roster. And I think that Lester Martinez is the right guy for this. You can see that Terrence Bud Crawford is bulking up tremendously. I think he's going to have plenty of time to bulk up where he's not going to sacrifice too much speed. And I like that. Vladimir Hernandez also on that card comes away victorious, Drew. And speaking of Pro Box, they're headed to Philly. Man, I gotta get Drew some media credentials, man. They're coming to Philly. They are coming to Philadelphia, I think the first week of April, which is right around the corner. And I would love if Drew can go see ProBox's first Philadelphia show this weekend in Las Vegas. As we're getting closer to wrapping up today's episode, it's been a fun one, guys. I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that like button. Tell a friend if they like boxing. Let them know. Come on this panel. This weekend, I have not been to a fight at the Fontainebleau Casino in Las Vegas, Drew. It's fancy. It's brand new. It is the rematch of one of the most interesting female matchups. I did not mean to put up the naked Sandy Ryan picture first, guys, but if you don't know what happened in the original matchup, a fantastic women's championship matchup, it was so freaking close. It was such a good fight. But Sandy Ryan, the UK opponent, well, she says that she was victimized outside of her hotel room in New York City the night before the fight. In front of the hotel, a car with some assailants came out of the vehicle and launched red paint all over her the day before the fight. Now, something, I don't refute the point that somebody did this, that someone actually did this. But what I'm still confuses me, Drew, is you see this picture here? She got paint on her yoga pants, right? On her leggings. Well, how she got paint when she's naked unless she put this paint on herself here? She took this picture for everyone on social media. It went global. How do you get paint on yourself naked if the paint was on your pants outside? Now, she accused Michaela Mayer and Michaela Mayer's team of doing this to play head games, to get in her head. Now, I met Michaela Mayer and Christine Lopez, shout out to her. She knows her very close. As a former Olympic boxing coach, I can't see how Michaela Mayer would be responsible for this. But again, people do crazy shit. Who knows? Who knows who did it? No one's been held accountable for this. But I stood on it. Can anybody explain to me how she got paint on her nude body? Unless she painted it herself. Well, we're going to get the rematch this weekend in Las Vegas. Women's title on the line. Are you upset that Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgartner, have not rematched their very controversial first fight, Drew? Because now Alicia Baumgartner hit it big. She's now signed to MVP and Jake Paul.
Number one, I don't think it was controversial. I thought she clearly lost Michaela Mayer, and I think she needs to stop saying that she won the fight because she didn't win the fight. Like, you're not going to win a fight with just jabbing for 10 rounds. You're not. You got to do something else. You were getting counted on the whole fight. I think Michaela Mayer just had to let that go. She didn't win this fight against. She didn't win the first fight with Sandy Ryan. I thought Sandy Ryan won that fight.
It was a very good fight.
And I'm picking Sandy Ryan to win the fight this weekend.
Sandy Ryan's got a lot to prove. Michaela Mayer now currently holding that championship. I applaud her for taking this fight. She's now fighting. This fight is contested at welterweight. I applaud her for taking this rematch. There has been an interview released today that says Michaela Mayer says, I offered Alicia the rematch, in fact, recently, and was even willing to do a catch weight, and Alicia refused. And that's that. Alicia's come back with her own statement saying, she wanted me to move up 3 weight classes for the and she offered me even less money than I made in the first fight. And now that she signed with Jake Paul, I think this rematch is going to eventually happen. But the fact is that they're multiple weight classes apart right now, and I don't know when that rematch will ever happen. But the feud is brewing again. I don't know who's going to win this fight, Drew. Like you said, it's probably 20 minutes, 10 2-minute rounds. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. Not to be left out of this great fight card on Saturday, or whatever you want to call it. Great. I can, hype up the fight. But we got the welterweight champion of the world, man. We got the welterweight champion that avoided Philadelphia's welterweight champ, finally coming back after an injury. Can you remind everybody what happened when he went to negotiate and was offered a record purse to fight your guy, Boots Ennis?
He didn't want to take it. They asked for more money. And I don't realize who the fuck. Question is, who's Brandon Norman?
Who is Brian Norman? Brian Norman destroyed I mean, he destroyed San Diego Santillan. I mean, Santillan was, people thought Santillan might be Top Rank, thought he might be a world champion. And here comes Brian Norman and puts the most savage beating. Now we have 4 world champions. And they made a $1.7 million offer to Brian Norman and his dad, Boots Ennis, Matchroom Boxing, DAZN. $1.7 million. And he's coming back to fight Cuevas, a relatively unknown welterweight fighter, for fucking chump change, Drew. For chump change. And as the co-main. You're the co-main this Saturday. Oh, man, that don't sit well. I remember we talked about it on the roundtable, and pretty much the consensus was, man, that was like the most epic fumbling of the bag. Let's see what Brian Norman looks like this weekend. I expect to see potentially a stoppage. I want to see a stoppage, and then maybe we'll see if we'll ever get this unification again with Boots Ennis, if he'll get an opportunity, if they'll go back to the negotiating table. If not, he's got to fight somebody else, man. He's got to fight somebody in the welterweight division, another champion, and that's just how I feel. Emiliano Vargas, the son of Fernando Ferros Vargas, Las Vegas local. He's fighting on the card, and you know that he's going to bring a lot of the young people to this fight, Drew. It's been a great show, guys. Appreciate it, everybody who's here. Saturday, we got boxing in Las Vegas again, followed by another Top Rank show coming up a week ahead, which will be at the Palms Casino, which I remain to have bought tickets for. I'm not sure if I'm even going to go to that. We're going to see how boxing turns out over the next 2 weeks as we lead up to the Cinco de Mayo card. Quick news, Drew. This is pretty good. Speaking of Vegas, Caleb Plant, Edgar Berlanga's been on his Fuck Plant tour. Caleb Plant sells tickets in Las Vegas, and this is something that typically I don't see boxing promoters do, but PBC is inking a location for a May 31. Is that Memorial Day weekend? Boxing over Memorial Day weekend? I got like so many friends coming out of town on Memorial Day weekend. Let me just check, man. I want to see that. I want to see Caleb Plant. No. Damn it. Memorial Day weekend's on the 26th. Caleb Plant, rumored to be headlining a May 31 PBC card. That's all good, Drew. Any final words, Drew? Your thoughts on boxing this week?
I think that Haney's just, I see some shit. Haney's talking shit. And and I like the way somebody respond to it. Dude, you sue somebody for battery, and you're in a combat sport. Like, you sue a guy for battery, and you're literally fighting him in a combat sport. Like, I don't understand the Haneys and everything. I think, and let's look at it like this. I think Devin Haney and Bill Haney are the most stupidest fucking people in boxing right now. Like, it didn't make sense. If I was a judge, I'd look at it and say, you know you were fighting him, right? It doesn't count as battery if you were fighting. It was sanctioned. And somebody had to tell him that. I don't know. I know it's some stupid shit, but you know. But I look at it like a lot of shit, you know, boxing. Oh, the pay scale, the TKO league pay scale.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid. It's being paid just like UFC pay scale if you want to look at it. Slightly better than UFC's, but here's the thing. Fighters can make $750,000 not fighting for a title and being on a co-main and making that. They're making more money than that. Like, why would I want to go to a fight league that I'm not gonna make no more than $750K for a fight? Doesn't make sense.
Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to Drew's channel. We're going to make sure that we put that link up in our comments section. You can subscribe to him and follow along his gaming adventures on Undisputed. I did have one last thing, Drew, that I forgot to mention, but Jesse Magdaleno, former world champion. Jesse Magdaleno fought on that Pro Box card, and he's a local, lives in Henderson. He probably lives just minutes from where I live, actually, to be honest. He was on that Pro Box card. And Drew, he lost to some very, very good fighters. And he took those losses after being a world champion so hard that he actually attempted suicide he was going to attempt suicide with a handgun, and his wife stopped him. And it just goes to show how in this sport you can have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And if you suffer from mental illness, he's an advocate for that, to reach out and get help, Drew. But he turned his whole life around. This knockout again on Saturday. I haven't seen a fighter so thrilled and so happy to dig himself out of that despair and now be back on top of the world, So don't ever feel like you don't have friends or there aren't people that feel the same way you do. He's, a lot of highs and lows in life, guys. And this is a great story. Shout out to Jesse Magdaleno from Henderson, Nevada, who had a very impressive knockout, man. I'm sure he's getting help for those issues, the depression. I'm sure he kick the depression away. Shout out to him, man. Drew, if you can, come back Thursday. We'll go over the entire card if you want to do a quick parlay. And again, make sure you drop that channel link in the description. I'm Dave in the 702, Philly Irish. We out. Peace.